Hi guys, I'm here live with you guys, and today in my video I will show you how to do something different today. So I'm glad that you guys able to join me, and I am on a little early today, so happy that you guys are here. Let me just fix this comment area so that I can see your guys comment, so that I can respond. So just give me a sec. Today we are here and we're going to do some sewing live, so just bear with me a little. Let me just fix this comment so that I can see you guys. Let me just see if I can see you guys here. Okay, all right, give me 1 second. Let me just, okay, right. So I won't be able to answer back to you guys right now, but I would answer back at the end of the video. I would respond to all of you guys' messages. So as I said, welcome to Sewing with Tamara, and I decided to do a live sewing video for you guys from the comfort of my sewing room. I'm happy that you guys joining me today. So here I am. As I said, welcome to Tamara Fashion Style. So today what we are doing, I'm gonna show you how to draft a simple dress, a very simple knee-length dress, which I'm going to show you guys how to draft. So the first thing we're gonna need, let's get into the notion that we're gonna need to start this project, because you're gonna need some tools, right? So what we're gonna need, first thing you're gonna need, we're gonna need some fabric. Yes, we have to get some fabric. Now this fabric that I am using is a kind of like the fabric that is a non-stretch fabric. Is like a woven fabric. It don't have stretch, right? So I decided to do it with this to show you guys, so you guys can see that you can do it with any fabric, because this pattern I'm going to show you how to draft, you can do it with any fabric, stretch or non-stretch. So the fabric that I have here, seeing that is like a knee-length dress, is just like the fabric I have here is like 2 yards of fabric. I'll be using 2 yards of fabric, and it's a green, so I'll be using that. The next thing you're gonna need a ruler like this. Now this is you call this an armhole curve. This is an armhole curve ruler that you have here. This is what we will be using, so you're gonna need one of this. You call this a hip curve. So this is where the hip comes in. So we're gonna need one of this. So we'll use this today. You're gonna also need a straight ruler. So we need a straight ruler. You're gonna need a paper scissors. You're gonna need a fabric scissors. You're gonna need a measuring tape. We're gonna need some pins. You're gonna need some tracing paper and a tracing wheel. Now these two work hand in hand, because we're gonna, this is the dressmaker tracing paper where you mark the marking from the pattern to the fabric. So we're gonna need that. So you're gonna need that. You're gonna also need your measurement, which I'm gonna show you how to take your measurement. You're gonna need that. A seam ripper handy. You need a seam ripper handy. And you're gonna need a chalk, a tailor's chalk. So let's get into the tutorial. Let's start. So let me just move this aside. Let me just move this aside. Now the first thing we need some measurement. That's the first thing we need. Now if you look in the I don't know if you guys can see this, but if you look in the background here, I have a dress form here which I use for myself, right? So as you guys can see, I already mark off the area that we would be we're gonna use today. So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna get your measuring tape, because we need some measurement to start sewing this dress, right? So the first thing we're gonna do, we need the bust measurement. Now some people measure different, but this is my method how I learned to measure, so I will show you my method how I learned to measure. So the first thing you do, get your measuring tape and you put your measuring tape around the dress form like this, like that. And whatever measurement, now this is the metal, I don't know if you see in clear, but the metal piece of the tape, don't make the measuring tape drop down like this. We need it firm, like that. You put it around the fullest part of the bust. Fullest part of the bust, you put it around. So we're putting it around the fullest part of the bust. Now, whatever measurement you get around the fullest part of the bust, you will write that down, right? So now don't measure, don't take my measurement, take your measurement. So whatever measurement you get, say measure like this. So this is the bust measurement we'll work with. So this is the fullest part of the bust. So whatever measurement you get, write that down. So let me do it one more time for show you if you can catch it. You get the measuring tape, put it around here. Now if I can spin this, and if you guys see, the measuring tape is right away wrong. I didn't allow it to drop down because I want it right away wrong. So it must be formed on the back, so it could match up with the bust. So the bust, whatever measurement you get, you write down that measurement you get, the fullest part of your bust. Then the next measurement we're gonna take is the waist measurement. Now this is the waist. Now if you can't find your waist, let's say sometimes some people tell your waist there by your belly button, but in that case to me is not so. Now if you can't really find your natural waistline, all you have to do is just put your hand here and bend like this. And wherever the sink is, it have a sink right here. Wherever the sink is, that is your natural waistline. So if you notice, my waistline is here. So when I bend, so I get a sink here, so my waistline is there, right? It's not to your belly button. So you're gonna measure the fullest part of your waist, which is around here. This is the fullest part of your waist. Now this waist measurement that I am working with is a 34 waist measurement. So her waist is 34, right? So you don't write down this measurement if you're doing the dress. For you, write your measurement, what you get. Don't write the measurement I giving you here. Do the dress for you, because if you do it with the measurement that I am calling out, the dress would fit her, right? So this waist measurement I working with is a 34 waist measurement and a 37 bust measurement I working with. So she bust is 37, she waist is 34. Right, now we're gonna work with a hip measurement, and we're working with a hip measurement of 46 inches. Right, so you need the bust, you need the waist, you need the hip. Right, we also need the length of the dress. So for take the length of the dress, you're gonna measure from your belly button, like from your waist right down to however long you want the dress. Now her dress would be like 27 inches, right? 27 inches, her length of her dress gonna be. But seeing this, since it's a short dress, sometime I'm gonna take off some of the measurement from 27 inches. So from the belly button to however long you want your dress. You can make the dress down to the floor. You can make it shorter if you wish, but that's just the length I am doing. And next measurement we will need is this shoulder measurement here. But seeing that this mannequin is so tall, I'm going to show you how to do it on, I'm going to demonstrate it on me when the time reach for that. Now, and we also need from the waist here to this hip, right? You see how I mark this surface, so you will measure like that. You need that hip measurement. So we're going at the bottom of the elastic. So you need the width between here and here. So this is the measurement. We'll need the bust, the waist, the hip, and the length of the dress. So now, since we get that, we need to divide that measurement, right? So your bust measurement, give me a second, my hair hooking on the chain. My chain hook, so let me just loose it off a little. Right, so your bust measurement, we're working with a bust measurement of 37 inches, right? So The bust measurement that we're working with is 37 inches. So from that 37 inches, you're going to divide that by 4, right? Only the bust measurement, the waist measurement, and the hip measurement, we dividing by 4. So the bust measurement is 37 inches for her. So we divide that by 4. The waist measurement is 34 for her. We divide that by 4. The hip measurement is 46. We divide that by 4. Now, the shoulder measurement, when the time reach, I'm going to give you that because we need that measurement to get this dress going. So the first thing we're going to do now, I'm going to get some drafting paper. I could do it on the fabric, but I prefer to do it on the drafting paper because I would always have that pattern to work with, right? So if I want to change the design, I always have the pattern to work with. So I have a roll of let me drag this table for you. I have a roll of drafting paper here which I'm working with. Let me just move this aside, and I'm going to cut out a piece of this paper, right? So I'm going to spread my drafting paper out like this. I'm going to spread my drafting paper out like this. Bring these tools over here. You will see me using the tools. To see the tools that I need, you will see me using it. Let me just dress this thing down aside. And I'm going to roll this paper out. Now I need a piece of paper. Let me see the length from her shoulder right down to where I need it. I need a piece of paper 43 inches long. Right, so let me see if I got that here. Yes, I have 43 inches long down this way. Right, so I need that length. So the first thing we're going to do, get your ruler. Now I have a 2-inch ruler here, which is a plastic rule. I have here, which is a 2-inch ruler. And I need a line 2 inches down from the 2 inches down from the top of the paper. Right, I need a line 2 inches down from the top of this paper here. So I'm going to get my ruler. As I said, this is a 2 inches ruler, but I'm going to use this one and just draw a line. Just draw a line down. Let me just move she aside. She kind of blocking me. And I'm going to just draw a line. Now my table have some lines on it where I could align my paper so I could get it straight. So I'm going to just move my paper across. And I'm going to look for a 2 inches line down from the top of the paper. Get it straight. Let me just look. So I could align this properly. The reason why I want 2 inches down from the paper is because to put the seam allowance on. So let me see if I got this right. So now I'm going to bend my paper like this. So I get a line. So now when I get my 2 inches down from the paper, I get my marker and I'm going to align this and I'm going to draw a line straight here. So you see I draw this black line straight across here. Now this black line here become my shoulder line. Right, this become the shoulder, which I'm going to show you just now. Now from this line here, we need to measure down between the bust and need between the let me get her back. Let me get her back. Show you guys something. Let me just get her back. Right, so this become this shoulder line here. I'm going to show you how to measure that. From this shoulder line here, I need between here and here, right? I need the measurement from here and here. So her measurement from here and here is 10 inches. The whole way how to get that, you get your measuring tape, you measure from between here to here. So I need this measurement between here and here. So that measurement will be 10, right? Now when dividing anything with that, we're going to measure down 10 inches from the line here that we draw. So what you're going to do, you're going to get your measuring tape and we're measuring down 10 inches. So we measure down 10 inches. So the distance between she shoulder to she bust is 10 inches. So we're going to go across. And we're going to measure down 10 inches. And we're going to connect these two marks in here. So we're going to draw a line there. And we're going to connect that. So this is the shoulder. This is the bust. Now we need half between here. These two lines, which is this between here, which is this up top here. Remember we get a bust, so we need the across shoulder. We need this this upper chest here. So we need the distance between here and here. Now we have an easy method you can get this, or you can measure. Let me show you the easy method how you can get that. All you have to do, if you don't know the width between here and here, you hold this paper on this line here, and you bring the two lines. You bring the two lines together like this. You bring the two lines together, make sure the two lines match up. And you give and you crease it. So it get a crease between right here. Right? If you in know for measure. But I will measure because I want the exact right. So this, half of this is 5. Right? So half of that with the crease with the line that we make is 5. So I have the crease here. That's the easy way to measure, or you measure with the measuring tape. So I have the half. This is the crease that is here. So now I'm going to draw a line in that crease. So that gives me the half between the shoulder. This is going to be the chest. This is going to be the bust. Now we need the waist measurement, right? We need the waist measurement. So we need from the shoulder here to here. So you get your measuring tape and you measure. Look for the shoulder bone right here. We have a shoulder bone right here. You look for that and you bring it across here and you go right down to your waist, which part your waist is, right? So my waist, I bend here, and this crease, I get a crease here, so that would be my waist. So I bend here. So when I measure here, that would be 15.5 inches, but I would make it 16 because I don't like my clothes pull up too tight. So the length we need from this line, from the top, this top line here, we need 16 inches down. So you take your measuring tape, and from the top of the line here, the first line that we draw, you measure down 16 inches. Now whatever you get, right, from your shoulder to your waist, if your waist is at your belly button or a little higher than your belly button, you write that measurement down. That is what you use, and don't use the measurement that I'm giving you because that dress would fit me, right? So I need 16 inches down from the first line that we draw from the top of the paper. So I need 16 inches down. So now I'm going to go down 16 inches. And I'm going to connect that line. So we will draw a line. So this becomes the waist measurement. This becomes the waistline. So we have the shoulder, the front, the across front. We have the bust, we have the waist. Now what we need now, we need the hip measurement, which is between here, right? So we need this measurement here from here to here. So this hip measurement now, you measure from the waist right here to the bottom of this elastic, right? So she on is 9. So her hip measurement is like from here, where your waist fall, to here, to the fullest part of your hip. So that is 9 inches down. So I need 9 inches down from the waistline. We're using the top, the first line that we draw. We're doing it from the waistline. So the last line that we draw, we just draw here, we're taking it from this line. So 9 inches down from that line. I need 9 inches down from the last line that I draw. So 9 inches down. Put a mark there. I need 9 inches down from this line. And now I'll connect that. I'm going to connect this line here. So this becomes the hip line, right? We need one more line we're going to draw, and then I'll count the line for you. Now the one more line we need is the length of the, if you want you can do a top. If you're doing the top and not the dress, all you have to do, stop at this, the last line that we draw here, and just add 2 inches to it. So I have a 2-inch ruler here. If I just want to do the top, I would stop at this line here and I would just draw a next line, 2 inches, which would become the hem line. But since I want a dress, I would go down some inches more. So I need my dress. I don't like my dress too short, as I said. So I need my dress length to be 27 inches long. So from the waist measurement, right? From here, this is her waist. I'm going to measure down how long I need my dress. So however long you need your dress, you measure from your waist measurement right down. It could be to the floor. You could want it to the floor. Or you could do it like a knee length, like me. I do it a knee length. So I'm going to take the measurement from the waist measurement, which is the line before the last one. This is the waist measurement. Now I'm going to measure down 27 inches. Right? I'm going to measure down 27 inches. I'm doing 27 inches flat because when I finish with the hem, it will become 26 inches. So if you want, you can do longer, you can do shorter. So I'm doing 27 inches. So I'm going to measure down from the waist measurement, 27 inches from the waist measurement. So I'm going to do 27 inches. And now I'm going to join that line. So now, this is the line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines we draw. 6 lines we have here. So now we have to divide these measurements, right? Now, I need my shoulder measurement. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a 2-inch line from this paper here straight down. Because I don't want to use the edge of the paper because sometimes the edge of the paper is not straight. So I'm going to draw a line like this. Right down. This is just a guideline. No measurement thing going here. It's just a guideline I'm drawing down so that I could get a straight line when I finish. Right. So this is just right down. I will draw it to the hem. This is just a guideline I'm drawing here. So I draw that line there. Now, we need some measurement to get this dress in shape. We need the measurement. So the first measurement we need to get this dress in shape is this measurement here. Right? So I'm going to, this mannequin is too tall, so you won't see that. So you're going to get your measuring tape, put it around your shoulder like that. Let me move my hair out of the way, like this. Put it around like that. And we have a bone right here. We have a bone right here. Right? So the measuring tape coming wrong. Let me move my hair out of the way. It coming around your shoulder like this. Like that. And you look for the 2 bone that is right here. So I measure from 1 bone here, 1 bone here. Right? So I will take that off and I get 15. Now, you ain't putting the whole 15 because remember it's just a quarter or that quarter scale that we're doing, right, for the dress. So we're going to cut it on a fold or we cut 2 pieces depending on how you want it. So my shoulder measurement is 15. I need to divide that by 2. So that would be like 7.5. So on this line here, the first line that I draw here, I need 7.5 inches. So I'm going to look for 7.5 inches on my measuring tape, which is here, and I'm going to put it on this line here. Now this is just a guideline, this long line, so I need to put it from inside of that line. So I need 7.5 inches from that line. So I'm going to measure that from the top to the top line. I rest that on the top line. And I'm going to put a mark right there. The next measurement you need is the across front measurement. So forget that measurement. You take your measuring tape and you do it like this. Now this going over the bust. So this coming like that, up top here. You never see where that like a tube top would land. It coming up top right here. So we need that measurement. Or you can do it like this, from armpit to armpit. So whatever measurement you get there, we dividing that by 2. Armpit to armpit, so we dividing that by 2. Right? So my own is 14. So I need half of that, which is 7. So I need half of the 14. Since my width is from armpit to armpit, I get 14. So I need half of that 14. So I'm going to get 7 on my measuring tape, and I'm going to put it on the second line. So this is the first line. This is the first line that we draw for the shoulder. The second line is for the across front. So I need 7 inches on that line. So I'm going to find 7 on my measuring tape, and I'm going to put a mark right here. Now the next measurement we need is the bust measurement. So you need the fullest part of your bust measurement. So you get your tape measure, and you measure around the fullest part. So the fullest part of my bust measurement is 37. Now I need to divide that measurement by 4, right? So 37 divided by 4, I have my measurement right here, right? Which I work out already. So 37 divided by 4 is 9 1/4, and I need to add 5/8 to that measurement. The 5/8 is the stitching line where you're going to stitch, because if you don't add ease and seam allowance to that dress, it's going to be tight, right? So you don't need your just your measurement. You need to add some allowance to that measurement, plus some ease to that, right? So the dress can fit you properly. So my the bust measurement is 37. I'm going to divide that by 4. I get 9 1/4, and I add 5/8 to that, right? So that will left me with 9 7/8 on my measuring tape. If you want, you can do a half in, but I prefer to work with a 5/8 seam allowance, because the half in for the stitching, and then the 5/8 gonna give me a little wearing ease. So I will deal from, so on this line here now, I'm going to because we have the shoulder, we got the across front, and we got a bust, right? So I'm going to put a bust measurement on this line. So I looking for 9 7/8 for this line. So on my measuring tape, I'm going to find 9 7/8, right? So I'm going to look for 9 7/8 on my measuring tape, and I'm going to put that here. Now this is a dress without dart. I don't need no dart. I don't like dart in my dress. So this is a dress without dart. So 9 7/8. So I'm going to put a mark here, right? The next measurement we need is the waist measurement. Now you need the fullest part. Your waist, you get your measuring tape. You measure around here, right? Wherever the sink is, that's your waist measurement. Now I working with a 34 waist measurement. So I'm going to divide that by 4. So 34 divided by 4 is 8 1/2, right? Plus I need 5/8 seam allowance. So that left me with 9 1/8. So I'm going to look for 9 1/8 on my measuring tape, and I'm going to put that here. Now I'm going to put a mark right. Let me get it, 9 1/8. So I'm going to put a mark right here. So all these marks here will be connecting. So now I need the hip measurement. So I'm going to use her, forget the hip measurement, because you can't see. I know if you could see me, but the fullest part around your hip, that's where you're using. So I'm going to use her. And I work with a 46 hip measurement. So 46, are we going to divide that by 4? So 46 divided by 4 is 11 1/2, right? We need a quarter of that, quarter of the 46 measurement, because we're not working with a full hip measurement. we're working with just a quarter scale or the pattern that we're going to drop, then we either cut the fabric on a fold or we cut out 4 pieces or whatever. When we reach to that, you will see. So we're working with a 46 hip measurement. We're going to divide that by 4. That's leave me with 11.5. And I'm going to only add ½ inch to that because I don't want the hip to be too big. I want the hip to be fitted, right? So I'm going to look for 12 inches on my measuring tape, which is here, 12 inches. And I'm going to put it on this line here, which is the hip line. So I'm going to move this down. And I'm going to look for 12 inches. And I'm going to put it on this line. So this is the hip line. Now the same measurement you get for the hip line, which is the 46, you divide it by 4, you end up with 11.5. You add ½ inch is 12. So the last measurement you get here, which is 12, we're putting it on the hem line. So I'm going to take the same measurement here, which is 12, and I'm going to put it on the hem line here. So I need 12 on the hem line right here, right? So now we're going to connect all these marking that we do. We're going to connect it for farm this top or this dress. So now from the top of this paper here, where we got 1 marking, you're going to measure down from the first line 1.5 inches. So we're going to measure down 1.5 inches, and you're going to put a mark from the top line, from the first line. Look for 1.5 inches on your measuring tape, and we're going to put a mark right there. So we put a mark in between the middle of these 2 lines here, 1.5 down, right? You're coming down from this line. So from that line now, you're going to get your measuring tape and see if you get the measurement 7.5 here. That is the half of the shoulder measurement. See if you get it there. So you're going to take your measuring tape and you're going to rest it at the 1.5 inches mark we measure down. 7.5, get 7.5 there, and measure and see if you get in the same thing to the line. If not, you'll have to bring it up a little. So I didn't get that there, so I just have to make my marking here, a little here. Right, so from that mark now, I'm going to measure the width of the shoulder. So we need this measurement from here to our shoulder bone. So you get your measuring tape and you measure from here. You could get somebody to help you. From here to the shoulder bone right here. So that measurement for me is 4.5 inches. So I need that. From this mark, from the 1.5 inches that we measure down, I'm going to measure from there to here. So now you have that inches to 7. So I need 4.5 from that line. From that marking, I need to get 4.5 from there, and that would form my shoulder line. So I put a mark there. So now I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to connect that line. So we're connecting this line here from the 4.5. Remember, we measure from here to here is 4.5. This here is 7. So we are not taking the whole 7.5 inches to form this shoulder line. We're taking 4.5. Whatever width you get from here to here, whatever width you get from here to here, place it, take your measuring tape and place it from this to this 1.5 inches that we marked down here. Measure and see if you get 4.5 inches anywhere between this. So I get 4.5 inches and I put a marking right there. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to form that line. That become my shoulder line. So this become my shoulder line. This line that is right here become my shoulder line. So now I need to connect all these marks that I do here. I need to connect this line, right? So before I connect that line, now I need a 1 inch measurement, a diagonal measurement, like 1 inch or ½ inch if you want. I need it like that. So I'm going to take my ruler have 1 inch mark right here. Or if not, if you don't have a ruler, you look for it on your tape like 1 inch. And you measure there, you put your measuring tape in a slant here, a slant direction. You don't want it straight, you want it slant. So we put it doing like a 1 inch line, a diagonal line, and you mark there. Now here is where the curve rule come in. So this is the curve rule we're going to use now to connect that. So you get your curve rule and you place it like this. So we place in the curve rule. So we're going to connect this line here. You get your curve rule. And we're going to connect these lines. Make sure one end of the curve rule touching to all the ends. All the dots, them the rule have to touch. Or else your armhole curve would be out of place. So you won't get the neat curve. So let me just get a marker for you. I'll find those markers going through. So you're going to hold that there. Make sure all the dots touching. And we're going to connect this line. Make sure it matches up properly. So now you form your armhole. So this is your armhole, you form right here. So now we're going to connect this line here to this dot. Now, some people when they're sewing for you, it's like because you square, they just sew the clothes square. Right? I find even if you're square or if you don't have no shape, they can shape you. But some people just sew your clothes down all because you don't have no shape. They just sew it down straight. They can shape you. Right? So I'll show you how to shape. If you as a person that don't have no shape, your clothes just fit you straight down. Or if you have anybody ever sew for you and just fit you straight down, they can shape you. So this is where this ruler comes in. So I am not square, right? If you look at the mannequin, you see it have this nice shape here and then it come out. So I need to get this shape here, like how this turn in here, because if you look in the back have this go in and then it shape out. So I need to get this shape of the mannequin so that this dress can sit down. So this is where this ruler comes in. So with that ruler now, I take from this mark in here. You guys see it? I take from this mark in here, that is right under the armhole, to the waist measurement here. So I use this ruler here, and I using this side of the ruler to give it a shaping, right? This side of the ruler here. So I'm going to take this ruler and I'm going to place it like this. Like that, because I am not square, right? I'm going to place it like this. I'm going to get this marking, and right from the marking, the dot that we put from the armhole to the dot by the waist, we're going to connect that. So connecting that. So this is where the shape comes in right here. So you see how this form here, it come with a curve and then it gone out. So you need that curve. Even if you're square, they can shape you. Next, we're going to take the same ruler, but instead of using it this way, we're going to use it this way. Because the reason why we're using it this on the outside, because we use it on the inside, so we use it on the outside now, is to form the hip of the dress. So I'm going to move this paper aside, and I'm going to pull this down for you. So from this dot to the hip is where we're going to form the curve. So you take your ruler and we're using this side. So you rest it down. Make sure all the marking match up. So from dot to dot, make sure the ruler touching from dot to dot. And you connect. So now it come, this is the top. Now if you want to stop here, you can stop here. But I don't want to stop here. I want to go down to make the dress. So I'm going to put away this ruler. And now this is where the straight ruler comes in. So I'm going to move this, and now I'm going to connect the line from the hip line straight down to the hem line. So I'm going to connect that line, and I'm going to just draw that line. So now my dress is complete, right? Now this is a darkless dress. I never like my dress with dart. In my next tutorial I'll show you how to do a dart, but for me I prefer my dress without dart. I don't like my dress with dart. So this is where my dress complete. So now I don't need my dress to be the bottom to be flare out. I need my dress to be like a pencil kind of dress. So I'll show you how to do the pencil bottom. So from the side, this is the side of the dress that we just scored. So from this line here, from the bottom of the line, right, which is the hem line, you're going to come in 1 inches from this line. You see that a straight line here? Come in 1 inches here. So you come in 1 inches. And now you're going to get the straight ruler and we're going to form back this line. So from the hip here, you're going to form that 1 inches line back. And you're going to just come in. You ain't taking away anything from the hip. You're just taking away from this straight line to the hem line. So this would be the new line. This line here won't work again, because remember you come in 1 inches. So this line will be out. So when you're cutting out, we're cutting on the new line that we draw. Now we have to, the seam allowance, everything done add into the measurement that I give you. Because remember, when I say I divide 34 divided by 4, and then I'll give you the measurement, and then I add the 5/8 seam allowance to it, that means is the seam allowance I already add in to my measurement. So where I draft it, all the seam allowance already in this drafting. Next time I will show you how to do it and how to add the seam allowance separate. So this dress here complete. So now we're going to form the neck. We're going to form the neck opening, because you must get a neck opening so that the dress, you can put the dress on, right? So now you're going to get your curve. You're going to get this curve, and from the shoulder here, right here, you see how the shoulder line go across here. Now we need the opening for the dress, right? Like how this top is. Now forget that shoulder measurement, that neck measurement. Measure down from, we have a bone right here, like from right in between this little crease we have here, this like hole here. Take your measuring tape, rest it here. And however long you want it, you can put it how long. If you want it like the top, you put it like the top. So I need, my own would be 6 inches down, my own would be. So I'm going to measure down 6 inches down from the shoulder line, which is this. There's the first line that we draw. I'm going to measure 6 inches down, right? And I'm going to put a mark. And now I'm going to get my straight rule. I'm just putting a little guideline, just a guideline I'm putting. And now I'm going to get this curve rule. And I'm going to use this end, this curve, like how we form the armhole. I'm going to use that curve. And I'm going to put this like this. I'm going to put this like that. And I'm going to draw in that neckline. So this is the front of my dress that done draw here. Now, I don't need to go and redraw the back of the dress, because we have to draw the back of the dress so that we can attach it to the front. Now, I don't need to draw the back of the dress. So I'm going to use the front of the dress to get the back of the dress. So all I have to do, I don't have to go back and do all of this. All I have to do is from the same shoulder line, all I have to do is measure down maybe an inch or 2 from that line. So I'm going to look for an inch on my measuring tape, and from this top of this line here, I'm going to measure down 1 inch. 1 inch I'm going to measure down, and I will get the same ruler that we just draw in the neckline, and I would use this side here now, which is the opposite side here, to draw in the back neckline. So I don't need to redraw the whole thing. So I'm going to place this like this. Let me just put her out to the way. Bring this down. And I'm going to place this like this. So instead of putting it like this, I don't need it like this. This is just for the front. I need it the opposite way. I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to, so this section here would be up to the shoulder line. And I'm going to place this like that. So I'm going to get the back neckline. So here is my back, the top. This is my back of my dress. This is the front of my dress. So this one pattern could work for the back and the front. Now, you're going to need a zipper in the back of the dress. So we have to extend this back line 1 inch. So I'm going to look for 1 inch on my measuring tape. I have a ruler here. It's a 2 inches ruler. And I'm going to take 1 inch off of that ruler. And I'm going to just measure 1 inches. So I need 1 inches out from that. So I'm going to look for 1 inches on my measuring tape. And I'm going to put some marking. I'm measuring it right down to the hem allowance. The 1 inch seam allowance, that is for the zipper. So we're measuring it right down to the hem allowance. 1 inch. And I'm going to connect that line. So that would become my back dress. So where I could put the zipper to zipper. So I'm going to connect that line. All those marking that I just put, I'm going to connect. So I don't need to redraw the pattern. So I'm going to connect. So here I get my back and I get my front. Now the shoulder line here, we need some seam allowance on the shoulder line. So I'm going to put a 5/8 seam allowance. You can do 1/2 inch if you want. I'm going to put a 5/8 seam allowance on this line. This is the shoulder. There's to stitch the pieces together. And I'm going to draw this line. Then I'm going to take this and connect them line back. Now remember my seam allowance already in. My seam allowance already in the pattern. Next time I'm going to show you how to add your seam allowance in your pattern separate in my next class. So my dress finished here. So I don't need to add anything more to that dress. All I have to do now is cut it out. So I'm going to cut this out. So I'm not cutting on this line because this is the front of my dress. I'm cutting here. This is the back of the dress. So I'm going to cut this. Now I'm using my paper scissors. So use your paper scissors. Cut that out. We're cutting outside the line, not inside. Don't cut inside because your dress will be tight. So we're cutting on the 1 inch line that we drawed. The one that we mark up, that is not the line. We're cutting on the inside line. So that is where you get the pencil skirt. Now, cut out the dress. Let me just move this paper. Yes, it can be. So we're cutting out the extra piece in the back, not the zip allowance. We're leaving the zip allowance because that is the back of the dress. And this is what it look like. So you see that? Now this is a whole dress you have here. So you see? So this is my front. This is my front. This is my back with the allowance. Now my front, for cut the front, I have to fold in this allowance right here. So I will show you how to do that now. So this is what you're supposed to get when you finish. So you see what I talk about the shaping. Even if you don't have shape, they can shape you and they can bring you out instead of sewing your clothes square. So this is the drafting of the pattern. This is the front and the back. I using the front to get the back. So now we're gonna cut out this fabric. But before we cut out the fabric, let me show you how to do the car. We need facing for the dress, we need facing for the armhole, we need facing for the neck hole. So I'm going to get a piece of paper. We just get this piece of paper here. Cut out this piece of paper. So we need some facing. So I get this piece of paper here. And I'm going to take the dress, the pattern that we draw, and I'm going to lay this neck down on a paper to get the back facing. So the back facing going to be cutting in two. So I need to get that. So I'm going to draw that in. So I'm going to just get a marker and I'm going to just draw in the back facing. And you come down 3 inches like that. Two and a half inches to 3 inches. So that would give me my back facing. Now I'm going to get this ruler here and I'm going to connect these two lines. I'm going to measure to see how wide it is. So I need 3 inches, so I'm going to come out a little more. 3 inches. 3 inches. So now I'm going to connect it with this. So that gives me my back facing. I'm going to get this rule and I'm going to fix this up better. So now I get my back facing. So I'm going to cut one of this on a fold, which I'm going to show you just now. So this is for this. So this is for the back. So when you put it on the fabric, this is where it comes in. See, so this is the back facing. So now we need the front. So this is the back. So I'll cut 2 of this. Cut 2 fabric. 2 fabric we need to cut with that. So now we need the front. So I'm going to get a next piece of paper. And now I need the front. So I'm going to get the front. I'm going to get this, which is the tracing wheel, and I'm going to trace the front. Right, so that's my front. So now I need my front to be like 3 inches. So I'm going to measure down, see if I get 3 inches. So I need my front 3 inches. I need 3 inches. That's in width. So you'll still have an extra piece when you stitch your facing and you flip it inside, it have an extra piece. So now I'm going to measure 3 inches right to see, make sure I get the curve. Because the front you need the curve direct. 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. Now I'm going to just freehand this and curve that. If you have a curve rule, you do it. If you don't, you just freehand it. So you freehand. And now we cut in one of this on a fold. So you say cut one on a fold. So I'm putting the indication for the fold. So I will know this is for a fold. And we cutting it on this. So you say cut one on a fold. Right, fabric. So we cutting one of that on a fold. So this is the front. So this will become the front neckline here. So this becoming the front. So this would be this front here. This front neckline that we cut in on a fold. So this become the front neckline. So this is the front, this is the back, this is 2 piece. This is 1 piece on a fold. We cut in 2 pieces of this. So you rest this aside. Now the armhole, now we need the armhole seam allowance. So I get my dress. Rest that down there. Get my marker. And I need the armhole. So we come in 3 inches. Or you can do it 2. 2 inches could work. Coming down 3 inches here. Or 2 inches, anything you want. And you remove that. So now, connect. And you measure the 2 inches out. Inches and you connect. So now this become your armhole. So we cutting this on a fold because remember we getting the front and the back. So we have to cut this on the fold. So we cutting 2 of this on a fold. So let me first put the indication so I know it got to cut on a fold. So cut 2 on a fold. Right, so I need 2 of that. And I cutting it on a fold. You cut out your paper. Make sure it's your paper scissors you're using. So now we're moving all these paper. So now this is the armhole where this would be coming here. This will be coming here. So you see, so we need that, we need that. So now we're gonna cut the fabric out, right? So now I am using this non-stretch fabric. This is a woven fabric. I'm using this. The front of the dress, we need to cut it on a fold. So when we open it, we get a whole front of the dress. Now this is my fabric. And this fabric is on a, so I'm going to, the fabric is like this. When you get your fabric from the fabric store, you'll get it like this. It would fold in two like this. It would be on the fold, right? When you buy your fabric on the fabric store, this is the fold of the fabric. If you notice, it ain't got no end, because when you open it, it have a fold in the middle, as you guys can see. Now I am cutting this dress out, the front of the dress on a fold, which I will show you. So this fabric here open out like this. Now I'm going to fold this fabric like this. And now the fold of the fabric would be facing me. The open end would be the opposite side. The salvage of the fabric would be the two open sides. So I need the front of the dress on the fold. So this is the fold of the fabric. This in have no open side. This is two fabric together. It's like you put two fabric together, but this is one fabric fold in half. So the fold of the fabric will be facing me. The salvage will be opposite me. So I open this out here. Make sure your fabric is done neat. Make sure it ain't got no wrinkle. If you need to press it, because you don't want when you cut out the dress, it's sharp, right? So just make sure your fabric okay. And make sure it even. So you get your dress pattern. Now remember, I have the back and the front on this one paper here. So I just need to cut out the front on the fold. So to get the front of the pattern, remember I draw in a 1-inch line here for the back zipper. So I need to fold that in. I don't need the zipper in front of my dress. So I will fold the 1-inch line back. I would fold that back. Make sure you fold the line neat. I need to fold that in. I need to fold in the 1-inch line because I don't need the 1-inch line. I need to fold that in. Now I'm going to turn the dress. If you notice, you see, I fold in the 1-inch line because I don't need it for the front of the dress, only for the back. So I'm going to flip my pattern like this, and I'm going to put it like this. Now the fabric is on the fold, so when I cut the dress open, it would be the whole front of the dress I would get, and then I'd have to cut 2 pieces for the back. So I'm going to place this side here, this section here, this end here on the fold of the fabric. So I'm going to place this down right on the fold. You don't need no space. You need it on the fold of the fabric. You're going to get your pins. I like to work with big pins. I don't like small pins. So you're going to get your pins, and you're going to pin this the pattern down to the fabric. So you're going to pin this down. I like to pin it at the end because in the seam allowance, because just in case the pin leave a hole in the fabric, it would stitch in the seam allowance. So right on the seam allowance, the fold of the fabric, pin your dress down. Pin it down. Pin it. Make sure it pinned down properly. And make sure it's on the fold of the fabric. you notice it coming off, just pull it back a little, because you don't want your dress to be tight. And now you're going to get your fabric scissors and we're going to cut this out. Let me just move she aside, she kind of blocking me. So make sure everything okay. And now we're going to cut this out. Now I need this section. This is the back of the dress, so I don't need this back right now. I need this section. So I'm going to get my tracing wheel. What do with my... So this is where this tracing paper come in, so I can get the front of the dress, because I don't need it to cut till up here because this is the back. I don't need that right now. So I'm going to take this tracing paper, look for the right side, and I'm going to place this under here so I can get the front neckline, and I'm going to mark this out. Like that. So I'm going to raise this aside. So I'm going to remove this, raise this up, and if you notice, I get my front neckline. So I'm going to just cut out the neckline only. So I'm going to cut out the neckline. And now I'm going to place this back because I need the shoulder, to cut the shoulder. Let me see if I come up enough. I'm going to cut out this. I ain't come up enough. So now I'm going to place this down back. And now I'm going to cut out the dress. Cut wrong. A little extra piece in the top which I don't need, so I'm going to shape that up. So now this is the front of my dress I cut out here. Let me just open it and let me show you. So I'm going to just put some snip here just in case I want a sleeve, but I don't need any sleeve. But for hook the dress up to the other piece, I'm going to put some snip, just some little like 1/8 snip, so you can know where to put the stitch the two seam together. Not no big snip, just some little 1/4 inch or so. So I'm going to take this off because I need to cut the back, cut the dress. So I'm going to bring her and let me show you what it will look like. I'm going to bring her. And I'm going to show you what the front of the dress will look like on her. So this, get the pin. When you put the pieces together, this is what her dress would look like, right? When you put, so you see, when you see the fold, so when you open the dress, instead of getting half, you get both sides. So that's why we cut it on the fold, so we get the whole front of the dress. So now I'm going to cut the back of the dress. So now I'm going to flip my fabric because I need 2 pieces of the back. I don't need to cut the back on the fold. The only way I would cut the back on the fold is if I'm not putting a zipper. But since I'm putting a zipper in the dress, I need to cut 2 pieces of the dress. So I'm going to flip my fabric. The salvage of the fabric will be facing me, so I will get 2 pieces if you notice. So I'm going to flip that neat. Make sure your salvage line up properly. And now I need the seam allowance that I fold in, the 1 inch that I fold in. I need that back now for the back of the dress because that is where the zipper coming. So I'm going to open back the seam allowance. You see where I fold it here? Now I'm going to open this back because this is the back of the dress now. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this. So I need that seam allowance, that 1 inch seam allowance back. So I'm going to flip this and I'm going to put this on the back of the dress. Now to line up this back of the dress, we need our grain line because remember the front cut on the fold, we don't need grain line for the front. So the back of the dress, I need a grain line too, straight for make it straight. So I'm going to just get my rule and just draw a guideline, like a grain line, anywhere on the pattern, so I could line up my dress to the back. So I'm going to just draw a line. Or if not, I can use the 1 inch line. But I prefer to draw the line on the pattern. So this would be my grain line. Just a guideline to line up the dress. And now I'm going to get my pin and I'm going to line up this dress to the back of this dress. Make sure it sit right on the body. Because sometimes you make a dress and the zip, you never notice the zip of the dress always coming like to the side. You know, that's because the dress is not lined up properly. So that's why I always draw a grain line on my pattern so I could measure the distance for make the dress sit properly on my body. So I'm going to get this, get a pin. So I'm going to measure the distance from here. So from the grain line that I draw to the fabric end, the salvage end is 8.5. So I'm going to pin this right here. Pin that there. So I need 8.5 go down. Let me see. So you see I'm not matching up here. So I have to swing my dress out because I get 8.5 here. I need to get 8.5 from this line to the salvage of the dress so that the dress could sit on your body. So I'm not getting it here. So I need to swing my dress out until I get 8.5. Right, so now I get 8.5 here. So I'm going to pin it. So the bottom, let me see if I get 8.5 to the bottom. I get too much to the bottom, so I'm going to swing my dress back into the bottom to make it 8.5. Right, so now I get 8.5. So now I'm going to cut out this dress. Make sure everything okay. Make sure I get everything. So I'm going to get my scissors, pull this fabric down a little, and I'm going to cut this dress out. Now I don't need to fold in anything here because this is the back of the dress. I don't need to fold anything in. I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to cut. I'm going to move this aside and now I'm going to swing this dress like this because I need to cut out the extra fabric in the back. So now I'm going to cut that. And now you have your back of your dress. So I'm going to put the same snip that I put on the front so it could match up. Just some little snip. Some little snip. And now I'm going to remove this. And we're going to pin this dress together. So move the two back. You lay the front down. So you see, when we cut it on the fold, this is how we cut the dress, like this. We cut the dress like that on the fold. So when we open it, we get the front of the dress. So you lay it down like that. Lay down the front. Get one of the back. Take one piece, right side to right side. If your fabric look the same as the wrong side, all you have to do, if you don't know the wrong from the right, just get a washable marking pen, not a permanent because it won't come out. Get a piece of chalk like that and you just mark it. I just mark an X on mine so I don't know it's wrong side, right? So we put in right side to right side. So I get one piece of the back and right side to right side. I'm going to rest this aside there, and I'm going to get right side to right side, and you're placing it like that. So we're putting the two armhole together, right? So you're pinning the two armhole together like that. Pin that. Pin this dress. Sometimes for me, I just prefer put on my zipper on the dress first before I pin it together like that because it works more easier for me. Pin that. Get the next side. Right side to right side. Pin the shoulders. And then you pin down the side of the dress. Pin the side of the dress down. And now decide whatever length zipper you using. We're going to decide whatever length zipper you using. So I would be using like a 20 to a 22 inch zipper. So I'm going to mark mine. This is the back of the opening of the dress. So you need to mark your zipper whatever length. So let me get a zipper to see whatever length zipper I'm using. Let me just get a zipper for you guys and show you. But to get a zipper, I have a zipper here. So I have my zipper here. This is my zipper. Let me get my sewing machine same time for you guys. So I'm using this zipper. Let me see what length this zipper is. Okay, my zipper is a 20-inch zipper. So if you know the length of the zipper, you measure from this stopper here to this stopper here. So from the stopper to the stopper, you're going to know the length of the zipper. So I using that zipper, so my own is 20 inches. So I'll place my zipper from the top here, right down, and I will get a marker to mark where my zipper stops. So I will just put a little marking right there, so I know where to stitch. So I would pin right there. So we're making one go at the sewing machine. We're making 3 trips. Pin. Pin. And you pin it. Now we're leaving this section here open. I will show you how to do this section when we meet to the zipper. Now we're going to rest this aside, and now we're going to cut out the facing them for the dress. So we grab this, the fabric, and we have to cut out some facing for this dress. So I get this little piece of fabric here, make sure it match up, it's even, and I'm going to get the back facing. I'm going to get the back facing, and I'm going to cut 2. I cut in 2. I cut out 2 pieces of fabric in the back, so I'm going to rest that. Now I need the front facing. I need to cut one on a fold, so I need the front. This is the front facing, so I need to look for a fold of a fabric. Let me see. So I have that here. I need to cut it on a fold. Let me see. Cut on a fold. Yes, I need to cut this on a fold, and I need to cut one on a fold. So you see a marker indication of a fold here. So this is what going on the fold of the fabric. So you're placing it like that on the fold of the fabric, like this. And I cut in one piece out on a fold. That won't be the entire facing for the dress. So I'm going to pin that. Pin this. Make sure it's on the fold of the fabric. And I'm going to cut. So when this is the fold, so when I open it, it cut on a fold like this. So when I open it, it's gonna be like this. So this gonna be for the dress like that. So I'm going to pin this back. I ain't ready for this yet. And now we need to cut out the armhole. We need to cut 2 of this on a fold. So we got a little indication draw where it has to go on the fold. So I'm going to place this like that on the fold, the fabric like this. Let me see if I can flip this around a little. I need to get it on a fold. So I'm going to cut this like that. I need 2 of that. Make sure it's on the fold. I don't want it to be short when you're ready. You have it off the floor, the fold, and then when you're ready to fit up the dress, it's short. So I'm going to cut that out. So this is one piece. We need to cut the next piece like this. I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to see if I get a next piece like that. If not, I have to fold the fabric like this. Open up the fabric. I ain't had enough there. So I need to fold back the fabric like this. Make sure it's okay. See if I get enough here now. And see if I can get one more piece here. Let me see if I can get a next piece here. Let me see if I can get a next piece. Make sure your fabric okay. I can get a next piece on the fold here. Running up there. You have to fold the fabric to make sure you're getting it on the fold. So I kind of short with this piece here. Let me see if I get a next piece. If not, I'll have to cut 2 and join it. So let's say your fabric ain't enough. You can use a different color fabric, or you can use the same fabric. I prefer to use the same fabric. So what I'll do, I would cut 2 of this and join it, because I cannot get a next piece on the fold because I don't have enough of this fabric and I'm not seeing any piece, or I could line it with something lighter. So I may have to cut 2 of that like this and join it together. So what I'll have to do is cut 2 of this and join it. But for cut 2 of that, and then I would have to leave a 1/2 inch seam allowance to join it back. So I look for 1/2 inch on my measuring tape. I have a ruler here, have 1/2 inch. So I have to draw a 1/2 inch line, like from here to get the seam allowance to stitch it back. And you don't want it to be short. So I'll place this on this line here that I just drew, and I will cut 2 of that, forget to stitch it back. Because I ain't have enough to cut the 2 on a fold. So I'm going to cut that. So I cut in 2 pieces of this. The reason why is because I ain't had enough to cut it on a fold. So I left a 1/2 inch seam allowance to join it back. You must leave that to join that back. So I'll leave that. So I leave a little piece extra so I could join it back. Right, so now we have all that we need. Let me just clean this up. So now I have the pieces for the armhole. So I'm going to rest that aside. Now we're going to fit this dress up. Rest this aside. Let me just get the machine. So here is my sewing machine here. Now I don't really like this sewing machine because it's kind of slow. I prefer my faster machine. Give me a quicker sew. My industrial machine. So I'm going to use this for the purpose of demonstration for you. Right, let me just plug this in here. So my machine have an on and off switch. So I'm going to turn it off for now. Give that pressure put. Let me get a bobbin with a thread so I can put it in for you guys. I already have a thread on the machine that I'm using this thread. You can use a once you use a thread that match your fabric, right? So you don't want to use a thread that didn't match your fabric. Let me just get a bobbin with a thread. So I have a bobbin here. I'm going to put my pressure foot, my foot on my machine. And just put in my bobbin. So I put in a bobbin in my machine. And I'm going to lock my machine. Right. So now, I'm going to thread this machine. I hardly use this machine because I don't really like it for the purpose. It's kind of slow. I like my industrial machine. So I'm going to thread my machine, which I thread in here now. Let me just thread this for you guys. I'm going to thread that. And I have a threader here, which I use to thread my machine. So I have this little thing like a threader. And sometimes them needle does be so fine that you can't see it. So I will put that through here. This is a threader. Place it through here. Now you have to thread this machine to suit. Sometimes it gives trouble to thread. Okay. So you get that. I have a threader here, which I'm going to use to thread this machine because sometimes the machine needle is so slim is that you can't see the hole of the needle. So I'm going to use the threader for the machine. Sometimes it gives a lot of trouble to go through. So you just got to get it right. Insert it. Come on, right. Sometimes the threader gives trouble to go through the machine. Let me just thread it for you guys. I ain't getting that threader through, so I get a piece of white paper. You can see the background of this thing. I'm going to put it at the back of this needle so I can see it to thread it. Because the needle hole so fine is that it does give problem to thread because it's a fine needle, and the reason why I choose a fine needle is that it won't left no hole in the fabric. Sometimes the needle give trouble. The hole so fine is that you don't even see it for go through. So just give me some time. Let me just see if I can get this thread through. The hole so fine. Let me see if I can get this through. That's why I like to use my other machine. I don't really like this one here. Forget it. Thread through this one. Just give me some time. Let me just thread this. This thing was in the way. Sorry. I don't like to use this machine. I like to use my machine where I could thread my... This one here needle. So fine. Joloi. Elian. Right. So I think I got it now. So let me just get the thread. Just insert it here. Right. So I got it now. So now I'm going to thread that. The needle hole so fine is that you're going to get it for thread. So now we in business. Let me just put on this foot. Right. So now we're going to sew this dress together. The needle that is on this machine is with a very small hole. So if you don't get it properly, it's trouble. So now we're going to sew this dress. Turn on the machine. I got to pick up my thread, pick it up. I have to pick up the bobbin thread so I can get it with this thread, put it to the back. So now what we're going to do, we're going to sew the dress together. So now we're going to get the dress. This is the dress. And we're going to get one side of the dress. So I'm going to get one side of my dress. Now my machine have a presser foot here, where I'm going to mash. When I mash, it's going to start to move. So I'm going to put this on the ground. And I'm going to sew that dress. So get one side of your dress. Make sure it pin even. Place it on your machine. Now I am stitching a 5/8 seam allowance. Now I have a marking on my machine where I mark the 5/8 seam allowance. I'm going to line it up with that, and I'm going to stitch this dress together. Now I'm going to back stitch. Take out my pin. Let me just get something to put a pin in. So you grab one side of your dress and you stitch it down one side, 5/8 seam allowance. When you reach the end, the back stitch, take out, cut your thread. Now get the other side of the dress. Get in the other side of the dress. Other side of the dress. And you stitch it down, 5/8 seam allowance. continue sewing. Now this is the zipper part we sewing down, so we stitching the whole back. You have to leave the back part open. So we stitching down here. When you meet where you mark for the zipper, you back stitch. Take that out. So we left the part open for the zipper right here. So get the next side of the dress now. This is the opposite side. This is the side of the dress. And we're going to stitch this down. Five-eighths seam allowance. Make sure your dress line up properly. If you're a beginner, take your time. I remember I sewing long, so I could go at a rate that I could control. I could go at a speed that I could control. So if you're a beginner, please take your time. Back stitch. So now we're gonna stitch the shoulder. So we don't stitch the side of the dress them. So we're gonna stitch the shoulder together. So pin the shoulder. Make sure it match up end to end. I put two snips, so you should put the two snip also. 5/8 seam allowance as well. Take out your pins. You don't want to be stitching over your pins. Back stitch. So now go on, if you have a serger, go and neaten the end of this dress here. Go and neaten the end so that you can get it could be neat. So I'm going to rest this aside and I'm going to grab my serger and I'm going to show you how to neaten it. Let me just put this aside. Let me just get my serger. That's my overlocker. Now I'm going to show you how to get that neat. Now I have my overlocker here. I'm going to do this with a different color thread so you guys can see. So it's something similar like the sewing machine. Going to take this to the end. So I have my overlapper here. My own is a 4 thread, but I always use 2 thread on mine. So I turn this on. This is what the front look like. This. So the fabric would be going this way. So for take a demonstration, I cannot face it to you because you won't see anything. I'll be blocking you. So I will get my fabric, the part that I sew. This is the stitch line. Now I need to neaten this end of this seam here. So I will get this. I will place it under my overlocker. I'll do it with a different thread. And you have to mind with this because this could eat out your fabric. So you see, it neatened the end of my fabric. So I don't have the raw edge anymore. Right? So I'm going to do this on both sides. This is for stop the fabric from fraying. From threading out. I don't work with 4 thread, but I always use 3 thread on it. So we're gonna do the shoulder the same way. Get the neck shoulder. Now I'm going to move this aside. I'm going to move this aside. Now I'm going to get Now you're gonna get the facing, but before we get the facing, we need to put on the zipper on this dress. So because of the sake of this video, I won't press this dress, but normally anytime you sew any seam, you're supposed to press it, right? But because of the video, I won't go through all that pressing. I'll show you how to put on the zipper and the facing. So let's go and put on the zipper on this dress. So I finished with this for now. So I'll take this off. I would rest this down. As I'm finished with this, I just take this out of the way. I will rest this down. And now, I'm going to sew my zipper together now. I have my zipper here. And I need a basting stitch for hold this zipper together. We can do it different ways. You got different ways in doing zipper, but I don't like the stitch throw on my zipper. You know, sometimes when you sew a dress, you see it have this big, everybody know that a zipper in the back of the dress. I like to see my zipper. I don't like my zipper cover, so I do my own different. So I get my dress on the right side to right side. I fold it like this, like that. I pin the top of the dress. Now my marking was 1 inch. So I need to get my marking for the 1 inch. I need to get that 1 inch marking. So I'll mark out the 1 inch for the zipper. You must mark it or else you're going to go off track. I need to get that 1 inch for that zipper. So I have my 1 inch here. So this is my 1 inch. I mark here. So now I'm going to run a base stitch down here. So I'm going to go to the longest stitch on my machine. Let me make sure this needle threading come out. I'm going to go to the longest stitch on my machine, and I'm going to give it a base stitch. So the longest stitch on my machine is 9. So I'm going to go up to that, and I'm going to give this a base stitch. Let me just get this photo. And I'm going to give this a base stitch, a basting stitch. I'm going to give that. I'm not back stitching. I'm just running a basting stitch on this. Now when you meet the rail, the stitch that we back stitch on, you back stitching there, you come out, you take it out. Now, you go to your ironing board and you press this seam flat. You press it open. I won't go and press it open. I could do it just like that. So you press this seam flat open on your ironing board. You press that flat. So when you finish, you get your dress. Let me rest this aside. You open the dress like that. Remember the dress, the wrong side facing me. So I open this like that. You have to press this down open. Get my zipper. This is the way I learn it, and I find I like this way, more easier. Get your zipper, place it in the middle, make sure it's the teeth in the middle of the zipper in the seam line. Now we're pinning on one seam allowance. So you grab your zipper and only pinning on the seam allowance to the dress. So match up the end of the zipper and we pinning on the seam allowance for the dress. Only on the seam allowance, not on the dress. Pin on the seam allowance. Make sure match up properly. The dress has to lie flat for this. You don't want no poke in your dress. Pin the zipper. Pinning on the seam allowance that we just base, only the seam allowance we pinning on. Make sure your dress come properly. Pin. Turn it around. Get the next seam allowance. Remember, you have to measure your zipper which part it stops. Pin on the next seam allowance. Remember, it's on the seam allowance you're pinning on, not on the dress. Pin. 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 And now you go back to your sewing machine, put it back to the regular stitch that it was. And now we're going to stitch this zipper down. But before we stitch this zipper down, I have where my zipper is, where I did end, it have an extra piece come up. So I have to stitch that back to make sure that it won't have a hole in my dress when I finish. So I will lose out these two pins, just the two bottom pin, just to get this area here so sew together. So let me just, now I'm sewing this piece up together so that it won't have a hole in my dress when I finish. So let me just back stitch, because, right, so now, let me measure this zipper, it will be okay. So now I'm going to take this out. Let me see if it's okay now. If they read the zipper. Now it needs the zipper, so I'm going to pin back the seam allowance that I remove the pin. And now I'm going to sew down. We're sewing down on the seam allowance, we're sewing down, not on the dress. So flip your dress. This is how the dress gonna be. Flip it at the side. So my dress, my whole dress is at the side of me. I'm not stitching on my dress. It's just the seam allowance I'm stitching on. If you stitch the zipper down on the dress, you can't open the dress. So stitch on the side of the dress. So on the seam allowance I stitching down. I'm gonna show you why when we finish. So I put my dress to the side of me. Now I need my zipper foot for stitch this zipper neat in place, because I don't need the zipper to be right out. So I need a zipper foot to do that, which I'm going to get one right here. So I have my zipper foot right here. Let me get it. So you have different foot for different things. You got the main foot for sewing. You got the other, the main foot for zipper. So my zipper foot look like this. Is a left and right, so I could sew my zipper anyhow I want, on any side. So I'm going to place that down. Place my zipper. So I'm placing my zipper now, the allowance, under the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew that very close to the zipper. Don't sew over your pin, take it out. And remember, the dress at the side of you. Back stitch. Only the seam allowance I stitching on. That's an easy method to sew the zipper. Lift up and make sure your dress in the way. Now when you meet to the stopper of the zipper, lift, make sure your needle down in your fabric, lift the presser foot and slide the zipper down from the needle, so you won't sew hit the head of the zipper. And now you bring back the zipper, you line it up, and you continue sewing. Make sure it didn't hit the head. Back stitch, take out, cut your thread, get the next side. So now we flipping the dress. So we done sew down one seam allowance. So what we're gonna do now is flip the dress to the next seam allowance and put the dress now the other side of you, and we're gonna continue the same process. Stitch the next side zipper down. Take out my pin. Back stitch. Something sticks, so raise up. So when you meet, you do the same thing. Lift up, slide the zipper back up out of the way, so it won't get in the way. And you continue sewing. Make sure it's in the corner of the zipper, close to the teeth. back stitch right in the end, and now your zipper finish. Now what we're gonna do, turn the dress over. Now you see where we have the base stitch right here? You see where the base stitch is? Now we're gonna lose that base stitch out. So this way, this seam ripper coming. So you get your seam ripper and we loosen the base stitch out. You lose the base stitch out. Don't rip your dress. Remember, just the base stitch we ripping out, not the zipper. Don't go and rip your dress. Loosen the base stitch. Just the base stitch you loosen out. Not the dress. So now, you take out all these thread you have here. Take out the thread. Clean up your thread. And now you have your zipper on your dress. So go and get the zipper a good press so the zipper could sit down flat, right? So now, here you have your zipper on to your dress. So your zipper finished. So this, what the dress gonna look like. You're going to give this a good press so your zipper could open if you like your zipper like me. So now, we're gonna get the facing for the dress. So that's the last thing. So you get your facing. The first thing we're gonna do the back facing. So you grab the one piece that you cut on a fold, you open it out. If you want, you can put interfacing on it, but I don't need for interfacing. I need my own to be just like that. So you get the front, you get the back, one piece of the back, and you need to find the armhole for this back. So get the dress, and you don't want to stitch the back only, so you need to find the back for this. Right, so you measure it back. So this is the top with the arm. So just get your scissors and snip it so you won't get mixed up. Get your scissors and you snip it. You get that? The two piece, you get one of this, one piece going here, one piece going here. So you pin it like that. Pin the next piece, same way. So it's gonna look like this when you finish. And we're gonna stitch that. Let me just change my zipper foot back to the regular. Now we're gonna stitch this. 5/8 seam allowance. Stitch the next side. Five-eighths seam allowance. Now we're gonna pin the facing to the dress. Now open the back zipper, open the back of the zipper like that. Make sure all your thread is out of the way. Make sure your thread is out of the way. Get one piece of the back, right side to right side. The fabric going right side to right side. Grab one piece of the back. And you're going to pin it like this, so the back come in like that, so it would be neat. Pin it over the zipper, pinning it over the zipper top. So shoulder seam to shoulder seam, you're matching up shoulder seam to shoulder seam. So you match that up. And now we're going on to the front of the dress. This is the facing, so we can knit the dress. Pin. Get the back of the dress again. We're pinning it, make sure this out the way. And you're pinning it over the zipper. You see, this is the zipper here. So we come in and we're pinning it right here. So you pin that over there. You pin. Seam to seam. Make sure the seam pin seam to seam. And now we're going to sew this in place. So grab your machine, and from one end to the zipper, the back. Now I need to mark the I need to mark this zipper where the teeth start. So my teeth, I feel for it. My teeth start right here, because when I turn it over, it must be, I don't have to put a hook nail or a press stop when I turn this over. So I will look for that part there, and I would start sewing from that section now. We're sewing from this section here, from the bottom here, come right up, and we go across and we stitch. We're sewing all around where we pin. So when we turn it, it will be very neat. So I'm going to start my own from here. I'm going to sew it in place. Don't sew over the zipper teeth. You see I mark mine? Stop there with my needle down. Turn. Feel for my zipper teeth where it is, because I want it as close as possible. And now I'm going to sew. Now we just sewing a 1/4 inch seam allowance on this on the neckline. Just a 1/4 inch seam allowance, not a whole 5/8 and a half. sure it catching under. Now when we reach the next, the other end, we're doing the same thing. Now look for where the zipper teeth start, because you don't want to sew over your zipper teeth, because you're going to break your needle. So look for it, mark it as I do, same way, as close as possible. And then I will turn my dress, lift your press foot, turn my dress to do it the same way like how I do the next one. Go as close as ever. And I'm going to continue sewing. So now, I'm going to trim this. I did my scissors. I did my fabric scissors. Where is my fabric scissors? Okay. So now I'm going to trim this. Put this aside. And we're going to trim this down. Trim that down. Not plenty. Just to take out the thickness. And what we're going to do, we're going to put some snip inside of this dress so that when we turn it, it could lie down properly. So you're going to put some snip inside. Not big snip, just little snip so it could turn to the front so the facing could stay inside of the dress. Just around the curve, like the curve edge. Put some little snip so it can stay inside. Not big snip, don't cut through your thread, because you'll have to go and sew all over again. Put in some little snip. Get the back, do the same thing. Just some little snips. Look for the back, the next back, same thing. And now we're gonna understitch this facing. So what we're gonna do, trim this piece. I'm going to turn this outside. So I'm going to take this and turn this like this, so it would be neat, you see. So you ain't seeing no more raw edge. So I'm going to turn this inside out. So you see how neat the back of the dress is. We're doing the same thing to the next side. Trim it down, and I'm going to turn this out. And I'm going to turn this out. So this would become neat. So you see, you're not seeing anything. So now what we're going to do, we're going to stitch on the facing of this dress. So the seam allowance that we snip and we sew going to face the facing. So we're stitching on the facing of the dress. That's to keep the facing inside the dress. So we're going to do that. So I stitching on the facing, not on the dress. So all the seam allowance would be towards the facing of the dress. That is to keep it inside. Keep the facing inside. So make sure your seam allowance facing the facing of the dress. Just like a 1/4 inch away from from the stitch drill with the facing that you sew. So you're stitching down the facing so it could stay in the dress. Make sure keep lifting up to make sure that you're catching the keep lifting up the facing to make sure that you're catching the seam allowance. Back stitch. So now this will come inside of the dress. So you're going to go give this a good press so it can stay in the dress. So when you press this, this is going to stay inside the dress. So this front here becomes neat. So now all we have to do now is hem this dress and put on the armhole facing. So we're going to get the armhole facing. I think I have one cut on the fold already. Let me see if I got it. Where I have that, I think I have one cut on the fold here. This is the one that cut on the fold. So we're gonna get the armhole seam allowance. And we're gonna do the same thing. Now this is the seam allowance. It cut on a fold, so we open it out like this. So this is what this is gonna look like. So it coming like this here. So you're gonna get this, pin this here, the middle, the center. I remember we cut it on a fold. So get the center, pin it. I like to do it this way. You're supposed to stitch the two ends together, but I will show you how I will do it different. So you pin that. I find that method is the easiest method for me. Everybody learn different. Pin that. Pin. Pin. So you see we got the extra piece. This is the extra piece to come and sew the other piece together. So you pin it. So you see when you cut that on the bias on the fold, it lie down very neat. You pin. Pin. So we have two extra pieces. So we pin this extra piece together. The reason why I do it like that is because I would get more, I would see how much I need to sew in. So I'm going to get my machine and I'm going to sew the extra end here. Place it under my sewing machine and I'm stitching the 5/8. Back stitch. Take out. Now I'm going to trim that piece off. And now I'm going to stitch the facing in place now. I'm going to repin that. Hold on. I have to repin it. You don't want to sew it too tight because you don't want when you're ready to put it on the facing peeping out through the armhole. You don't want that. You want to give it a little freeness. So I'm going to take off this off my sewing machine, place this under here so I could only stitch the facing on the dress and I won't stitch up my dress. So I'll do a 1/2 inch. Back stitch. your facing in place, hold it tight. Stretch it as you go in so it could come and fit neat in place. When you meet, back stitch. So now, this what it look like. So when you put this inside, this will be neat. So what we need to do here now, we need to do the same thing. I like to trim, I like to give around my core some little snip so the facing could stay inside the dress. Everybody learn different. I like to give mine a little snip. Just a little 1-inch snip. Like you're snipping through your thread just right near to the thread. Around the curve edge, like a 1-inch snip from each other. Snip it right under the curve here so it could lie flat. You snip. And now you do the same thing like what we do to the arm thing. Put the seam allowance to the facing and we're going to stitch this down. Put it back on the sewing machine. Make sure you're stitching on it with 1/4 inch and the thread boards. So I have to thread this back. Just give me 1 second. You know the trouble we had for threading it back. So I'm going to try to see if I can get this as quick as possible to thread that back. Let me see if I can get to thread this back because it gave me some trouble just now. Let me see if I can see to thread this back very quick for you guys. This does give trouble because the needle very fine. Very, very fine. While we come out. Let me see if I can get this back. Thread that back right. I'm going to thread this back. Finally getting some trouble here. Right. So you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna stitch down the facing. Make sure that the facing is stitching down the facing, not on the dress. Raise up and make sure it's stitching properly. So you're going to give this a good press and this is going to stay inside of the armhole when you don't give this a press. So we have the next one for do. So just the next one for do and then we finish when we done hem the dress. and I will show you it on my Facebook page wearing it. So I'm going to flip this, stitch this two together, because remember I didn't get this on a fold. So this is the next facing for the armhole, but I didn't have enough fabric to cut this one on a fold, so I have to cut 2 pieces of this, but I have to join this now. I'm going to join this. Trim it the same way. Get the next armhole. This is the next armhole we need in here. Pin. Grab the next side. Pin. And we're doing the same thing. We're stitching it the same way. Pin here. We have the extra piece. Remember, we have an extra piece here. Right? We have an extra piece here. We're going to pin this extra piece in place. Pin it in place, go to our sewing machine, and we're going to sew it. Sew the extra piece. Back stitch. Trim it. Pin it back. We're pinning it in place, seam to seam, look for seam, match it up, pin it in place. Stretch it so it could fit. You don't want to stretch it too tight, you just want to give it room enough. So now we're going to go and we're going to sew this in place the same way like how we sew the next one. Your pins. Continue sewing. Back stitch. Cut. So now I'm gonna do the same thing, drop some snip like in around the armhole, like an inch apart. Same thing. So we're going to go back and we're going to sew this. But before we go back to the machine, let's do our hem and done. So now this is your dress here. So I need a 2-inch hem. So the way I do my hem, I get my dress and I look for the seam. open up this seam here, right here, and I fold it like that. I fold 2 inches. So I get my measuring tape and I measure 2 inches. 2 inches. Measure until you get 2 inches. And you pin it like that. Go to the next seam. Put your seam facing the back. 2 inches. Always measure twice, cut once. Pin. Get the next seam. Make sure it faces the back. Make sure it's 2 inches. Pin. So now when I pin all them seam, the hem automatically turning for itself. So now to keep that end, to keep that neat, what I do, open back the dress and I would lift this section, make sure it's 2 inches in front, and I would turn up the 1/4 inch underneath it, turn it up, turn it in. So I won't got any raw edge, it would be neat. Turn it up. So my hem would be 1.5 inches when I finish. Turn it in. All the way pin, you turn it in, turn it up. Turn it. Do the same thing. Make sure it's 2 inches. You don't want it to be too wide. Turn it up. You don't want the front to be longer than the back and the back to be shorter than the front. So you turn up. Turn it up. So now you finish pin your hem. So now we're going to sew this. Grab your machine. Start from the back of the dress. Place it under. Make sure you keep the hem in place. So now we hem in the dress, and right at the edge of the dress, there where you're going to hem. Right at the edge. Back stitch. And you're hemming right at the edge of the dress. So when you're hemming, your hem gonna come out neat and nice. keep hemming your dress. You want everything to be neat. You don't want no raw edge in the dress. Right to the edge. You see I stitching right to the edge of my dress. Right to the edge. Now I normally hem my dress with my hands, but I'm just showing you can do it with a sewing machine if you like it that way. But I like to hem it with my hand. It's more neat. You won't see any thread. Back stitch. So now you finish your hem. So this, what your hem gonna look like, you give this a good press. So the only thing left for us to do now, remember the last armhole is to do the stitch it down. So let's stitch that down on the seam allowance. The only thing left for us to do is stitch that down. Stitch down the seam allowance to the facing. So we will do that and then we finish. Again, I'm going to belt for me with my draw. I'm going to belt for me. So now you dress finished. So I don't know if my iron could reach here. So I'm finished with this dress. I'm finished with this sewing machine. So let me see if my iron could reach here. Let me see if I can show you how to press this facing down. So your dress is finished. I want to put it on the mannequin. Let you guys see what it look like. Let me just put it back. Let me just get the iron for you. I don't know if it could reach till here, but let me see if I can get it to reach here. So I finish with this. Let me just move this machine because I'm finished with that. We finished, so we dress. Let me just move that. See a nice broad one. My iron could reach there. Okay, so now we have my iron reach. Good luck to you. So this is a hem roll I have here. So this is what this dress look like. So now you're gonna get your dress. The first part we're gonna clean up your dress. Make sure you clean up all them threads. You don't want your dress look like home sewing. Clean it up neat. All the thread them, clean them up. So you get your facing, put it in the armhole. This is the armhole facing. Get this? Put it like that. Oh, there are some big brothers. I brought the one with a silver buckle. So you see how neat it's staying in? Keep that in. Press that. So this see how it stay in the dress. That's what you want. That's why I trim. That's why I snip the facing. That's why I snip it. Now my iron have on a shield on it. So yeah, this one. My iron have on a shield on it. So that's why I can press my dress just like that without a pressing pad, because my iron have a plate on it to prevent it from burning clothes. So if your iron don't have the plate on it, then you have to get like a piece of fabric and put over the cloth and then press it before you scarf your dress. So you see how neat this stay in? See that? So now we're gonna do the other wrist like that. To take that. You want it to stay in, so that's why I do it the way I do it. So bring a same one too, a black. Yeah, bring a chain for me. Not black. I got the black chain, don't worry. Bring the bell. So you keep pressing. So it come and it stay in very neat. So this neat inside. So now I'm going to do the front. I'm going to clean up my thread. You always want your dress look like store-bought clothes. You don't want it look like home sewing. I don't like my clothes look, so I like my clothes look like ready-made clothes. So you're gonna clean up your thread. Make sure you get all those thread out so your dress could look neat. Clean up your thread. Make sure you're facing in the dress. Keep it inside the dress. Make sure when you're pressing, you put it in the dress. You don't want it outside. the dress. And you have to give it steam so it can stay in. And now we're going to press the hem of the dress. So clean up the hem of the dress. So you see the hem of the dress inside neat. You will see no raw edges. And I get it. Remember, if you're ironing have on the shield, get a pressing cloth. Especially if it's those cloth with a skirt, you don't want your dress to get any shine on it. My own have a shield, so that's why I could put my own like that. This, you press the press in this dress. So this is the zipper. We're going to the zipper of the dress now. We're pressing. So now we have some thread here. You need to remove this thread of this the zipper. You don't want your clothes look anyhow. So I will remove my thread later. So I'm just gonna press down the zipper. I have a lot of thread to remove, so I will have to remove this later, but I will just press down the zipper and show you what I'm talking about. My zipper have lots of thread to remove, so I'll have to remove that later. I just opening my zipper, as I love to see my zipper in my dress. I don't like invisible zipper, and I don't like my zipper cover up, so that's why I always buy metal zipper, metal teeth zipper, because I love to see my zipper. I find it look more unique, it look more nice, it make the dress look more nice. So now that we finish, let's press the side of the dress now, and I'm going to put it on the mannequin, and I'm going to show you. Sure you press it neat. Anything you so press it, you don't want it look homemade. So now we're going to place this dress on the mannequin. So now that your dress finished, you just move this aside. Let me just rest my iron back. Let me turn it off before it falls, because this iron very expensive. So I can't afford to let this fall. Wait from there. Let me move this aside and get the mannequin for you. So let me get the mannequin for you guys. Place this dress on it. So here is the mannequin. Now this is the pants I have here, so I have to put the dress on from below. So you see all these thread, I have to get all these thread out, which I will do later. I can't do that now. I will take the thread out later out of the dress. So all these thread have to come out of the dress. So this what the dress look like. So this is the finished dress, what it look like. This is the back of the dress. This is it. So for me now, for this dress fit me, I have to come and take in some of the hip. So that's how I alter my dress. I would make the dress, the hip a little bigger than normal. And then I would come here and I would turn it on the wrong side and I would alter the dress down. Because if you notice, it's had an extra piece here. So I have to alter that now to come and fit me. So this is what the dress look like. You can style this dress. You can put it on with a belt. You can belt it. You can belt this dress if you want. You can belt it. Well, yeah, you don't got thinner belt than that. And the thinner one. Have a thinner belt than this. You got a thinner belt. The thinner one. You can belt it if you want, fix it. Top. Belt the dress nice, and you can put this dress with what you want. You can wear it with whatever you want. You can wear this dress with. You want belt it, you wear it with a chain. I will drop the camera just now so you guys can see the full dress. I will drop the camera in a while. Just give me 1 second. Let me just drop the camera so you guys can see the full dress. So this what your dress will look like. I will drop the camera so you guys can see it. So let me just drop the camera for you. So you guys can see what this dress look like. I will raise it for you. So this what the finished dress look like. Let me put the camera to the back so you guys can see. Hold on, I'm rotating. So this what the dress look like. So you can belt your dress. So this is the dress that we just finished sewing. So you can do what you want. You can wear it anyhow you want. You can wear it anyhow. This is the zipper. As I said, I had to take out all those thread in the zip. I had to take out the thread. I had to do a little alteration for the dress fit me because this dress form is a little bigger than me. So if you look at the side of the dress here, I have to do a little alteration so the dress can come and fit me neat. So this is what the dress look like. So you see how neat the dress do. This is the armhole. This girl, look at the armhole. This here, you put this inside. This mannequin a little bigger than me, so I will have to adjust the dress to fit me. So as I said, so here you go. The side here, I have to take that in to fit me. So this is what your finished dress look like. So the side, you see the side here is by the belt on it, make it look like that. So when the belt, I will put it on later and I will show you guys. So you see all the neckline here, you see all this here keeping inside, you see all here, very neat and nice. That's how you want your dress to look. Whether you want a neat neckline, you don't want not anything showing too, no raw edge. You want the zipper to be neat. You see the zipper how it neat. So you see the zipper how it neat here. So I would have to take off these thread later on. I would take these thread out and I'll put the dress on for you guys see how this dress look. So if there's anything more you guys would like to see me make, just leave me a comment, ask me, and I will do it for you once I have the time. So here is your dress. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. So I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial that I just did, a live tutorial for you guys. And if you guys enjoy it, just let me know. Let me see if I have any comments so I can answer back to you guys. Let me see if I have any comments. So if there's anything more that you would like to see me do live, hello, good afternoon, yeah, just let me know and I will do it for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, as I said, and I was happy to do it for you guys. I was happy to do it. So this every week I will be doing something fresh, something new. So if you guys want to learn to sew your own clothes, grab your machine, get your machine out, and I'll be doing some live tutorial for you guys. So bye bye, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you soon. Bye. Enjoy.